This is WRHD, Farmville, Greenville. Powered by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's ritchielaw.com. Do you live ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It's Wednesday, June 24th. It is Hoist the Colors, midway through the week. Excited about today's show. We've got a lot to get into. We're going to be rejoined by James Giglio. He's back with us after a couple of weeks off. Hard at work this summer. We'll catch up with James here in a second. Philip Hilkenden back in the 94.3 The Game studios producing. As always, we'll get into some NBA draft, some Major League Baseball perhaps, some World Cup. We'll get James's thoughts on the College World Series, a little bit of everything. But we are going to dive deep into the new ruling today of the eligibility change with Division I athletics, the new age-based model, 5 years to play 5, essentially eliminating the red shirt and allowing players to play up to 5 years, or 5 years from their enrollment, or 5 years after their 19th birthday. So we'll get into that. We'll hit it from a broad perspective. We'll also hit it from obviously an ECU perspective and from a sport-by-sport specific perspective. So a lot of questions coming out of that. We'll try to address as much as we can. There is still some unknown, but we'll get into a little bit of everything on that front here starting in a couple minutes. Let's introduce today's cast. We've got the return of James Giglio. James, how's life treating you, my friend?
It's been good. I've been missing the show. I've been missing ECU. I feel like I'm behind on everything. I have a shift later. I actually almost wore my Bass Pro polo or shirt, whatever, my uniform. But I decided not to. And then I also, did you get a new mic at home?
This is a new mic because the old mic that I took, somehow the USB drive got messed up. The XLR port works fine, and so we're gonna have to figure that out this off season. That's a charge to the IBX media team this summer.
Yeah, I just noticed it as you were doing the intro. I was like, I swear he had one that like came down, but.
Yeah, we had to make some changes. But Philip Hilkenden, he's got the real legendary studio mic. Right now, I've got too much going on with the kids to drive across town, and so I'm preferring the home studio these days. It's like a 15, 20-minute haul, there and obviously back, so I try to save as much time as possible. But Philip, he'll be sounding the crispiest of the three today, probably.
Yeah, I probably will. I don't know. This one's actually the oldest of the ones we have in there. The ones that you sit out with, they are actually the best. Stephen, it stinks. I miss having you in studio. And also, the biggest reason that it takes you so darn long to get across town is all those stupid lights. I mean, if you tried to drive from your house to here at, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, you could probably get here in, 7, 8 minutes? But it's all those lights.
7 minutes tops. Because, when I was coming back from Baltimore, just to get – if you know Greenville, basically my house is a straight shot down to Arlington, pretty much all the way, out near the hospital to the studio. And it took 5 minutes when I was coming back from Baltimore because it was 3 in the morning. Every light was green. But yeah, daytime traffic in Greenville, man, it drags.
Does anybody in Greenville have a 9 to 5
experience? No. I mean, it's at least it doesn't seem like it. From the hours of 11 to 1, when I'm on the road trying to travel for this show, it takes way too long to go the distance.
It's just because of the light pattern. The light pattern's not synced up.
It's terrible.
It's not, but still, I mean, even when I come back from Patrick's show, when I come back at 2:30 or 3, dude, I don't know, man. There's so many people out. It's dude, most towns, people work 9 to 5, except for we got a lot of hospital workers, but other than that, still, don't most people work 9 to 5?
It is a frustrating experience, but enough of that. We could do a whole show on Greenville traffic patterns. I have to get the mayor. He is a former ECU baseball player, PJ Connolly, on at some point to discuss that. But let's dive into this eligibility change, guys. This is big news. Obviously, this has been talked about for a while and will likely become official later today when the Division I cabinet meets and concludes on Wednesday. But I'll kind of run over some generic points here, and we'll dive into this thing. So on Tuesday, the Division I cabinet unanimously approved a sweeping overhaul of eligibility rules for student athletes, permitting Division I student athletes up to 5 years of eligibility if they enroll in college no later than the academic year after their 19th birthday. So basically, this is an age-based eligibility model that is coming down. And essentially what it means is they're basically getting rid of the redshirt rule, the medical hardships, the waivers, all the stuff we've seen that have kind of allowed players to go 6, 7, sometimes even 8 years of college due to medical hardships, JUCO rulings, all this stuff. For Division I players, they get 5 years to play 5. And from what I can gather, there will be no more medical hardships. There will be a few hardships we can get into here in a minute, special circumstances, basically surrounding, mission trips like for BYU and some of those programs that utilize student athletes that go overseas and come back and play older. It sounds like they'll still be able to do that due to religion exemptions. But for the most part, 5 years is what college student athletes are going to have to play once they enroll or after their 19th birthday. So we'll get into the specific sport impacts a little bit later on. But again, this kind of puts redshirting by the wayside. To read a few quotes here, this is from Josh Whitman, AD at Illinois and the chair of the cabinet. He says, quote, "With these changes, the cabinet has taken decisive action for the benefit of student athletes in the system of NCAA Division I athletics. For many student athletes who enroll in college immediately after high school, these changes will result in the opportunity to potentially compete for an additional season in their chosen sport. For campus officials and coaches, this change provides rules that are simpler to administer and easier to predict for roster management decisions." And then Charlie Baker, NCAA president, added, quote, "While previous NCAA rules have served college sports well for a long time, we heard also loud and clear from NCAA members and student athletes that eligibility rules should be easier to understand. This change to an age-based model eliminates aspects of the rules that have proven difficult to administer in the current litigious environment and clearly defines the exceptions available in limited circumstances while preserving the long-intended alignment of eligibility with typical college enrollment and graduation patterns." So that was a lot said there in that statement. But just to kind of give you an idea, essentially they're getting rid of red shirts, all the hardships that have created issues with college sports. So look, I have mixed feelings about 5 years of eligibility. But for the most part, I guess I'm in favor of this if it'll get rid of all the lawsuits, all the stuff where we see like Trinidad Chambliss get an extra year of eligibility just because he takes it to court. We've seen other guys get multiple years of extra eligibility. So I'm hoping this brings a clear and decisive 5-year pattern, although we'll get into some of the things here with players who just graduated. I expect those players to potentially sue and try to get a 5th year. But for now, Philip, this feels like hopefully a step in the right direction. We'll get James's take after Philip.
Look, man, at the end of the day, I'm with you. It should be 4 years, Stephen, but it's not 4 years now. It's the Wild West. It's craziness. It doesn't even make sense. And then also you've got football. Hey, you can play 4 games and still get redshirted, and then you can pinch run in one baseball game and not be able to be redshirted, or sub into one basketball game for 1 second and not be able to redshirt. So it's not even consistent across each sport. So this will bring consistency, continuity, and it's going to make it easier on the coaches. It's going to make it easier on the fans. It's going to make it easier on us to do our jobs. So anything that can just make stuff make sense, because it doesn't make sense right now. So I guess I'm for it because the alternative is the Wild Wild West. However, they need to go back to the old model, but that's clearly not going to happen. We have lost your audio, Stephen. All right, I think he wants James.
Oh, there
James,
we go. There we go.
Okay, never mind.
What do you think, James? Sorry about that.
I mean, I completely agree with Philip. I think it does make things a lot simpler, and I do appreciate the NCAA and these athletic directors trying to come up with a solution, because, I mean, in the past couple of years, college sports has been pretty much broken with people being eligible, people not knowing who's eligible. And I think this proposal, while it is 5 years instead of the 4 that a lot of fans and I myself want, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction compared to, guys playing 6, 7, 8, and even a couple guys playing 9 years of college sports. And I think it's just going to create, like Philip said, simpler and more, and people are going to understand, who's a freshman, who's a sophomore, who's a junior, and how many years do these players have left of eligibility. That's, in my opinion, going to be the best part of it, because even red shirts confuse me because, like Philip said, like you don't know who's got eligibility if they go in and pinch run or if they go in and play 4 games. It's all super confusing, and I think this is definitely going to bring a lot more clarity to the average viewer.
One thing I will say here is, as a reporter, for years we've referenced guys as freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and obviously that, some of that has changed with the eligibility, but still, like if I reference a guy as a senior, I know he's probably done. Like, do we now just reference them as first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year? Like, is that? I feel like that's the only way we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, the only other way to do it, I guess, is we start calling the 5th year the grad year, but that's going to confuse people because then, he's a senior, but he's got 1 year of eligibility left. Probably have to just go 1 through 5, or just do it based off the years of eligibility. He is a player with 3 eligibility years remaining.
That's too much for me to write. I already have to write enough. All right, so the other aspect of this is, I've gotten this question a lot. All right, how does this affect ECU in terms of current players? So if you are a player that just completed the 2025-2026 academic year, and like, for example, Joseph Webb, he was a senior. He played 4 years of college baseball. He does not have a 5th year of eligibility per this ruling. Those players are done per the initial ruling here. There is no additional eligibility they can gain. Now, there's a lot of talk out there about there's going to be lawsuits as a result of that, as you would expect. Why should they only be limited to 4 years versus a player, who's coming in who's now going to get 5? So I don't know exactly what's going to happen there long term, but for those guys, a Joseph Webb or a Marlon Gunn or a Sam Danka, those players that played 4 years in their respective sports are done for now, just to provide some clarity on that. Now, the players who are already have been playing and they have eligibility left, let's give an example here, Ethan Norby in baseball. So if you are grandfathered in with eligibility remaining, the school can either have that player go to the previous ruling of 5 years to play 4 years of competition, including a potential redshirt year, or the player can go on the age-based model, 19 years old, 5 seasons after that birthday, whatever is more beneficial to the player. So Norby right now, I think he's 21 and a half. His birthday is in January. He could have 2 more years of eligibility at least remaining, and then that technically could give him an additional year of leverage with the MLB draft. Now, I don't expect Norby to come back either way. I'm just trying to provide an example. You would have some similar circumstances in football too. This rule will officially go into effect for players enrolling in fall of 2027. So even the guys who are signed that are coming in for this fall that are freshmen, they'll still go to the old 4 or 5 years to play 4 as well. So I just want to make that known. But again, if you go on the age-based model, if you get a player who's 19, he will still get 5 years after his 19th birthday upon enrollment. So kind of confusing from that standpoint, guys, but I am intrigued to see what's going to happen with just the guys who are done with college now, and NCAA is saying there is no additional eligibility. Like, I feel like this thing's going to drag out, and as a result, what's going to happen if some of these players end up getting a 5th year, but most of these rosters are going to be full? I feel like by the time these decisions are made, I feel like this is going to get kind of messy long term with some of those decisions.
Yeah, I think this definitely throws a wrench in things, and I wonder if it'll be something similar to when NIL as a whole was introduced, or 2023 or whatever, and all those players from the 2010s, like the Johnny Manziels of the world, were talking about, hey, I didn't get any of this money that I would have made a lot of money if I had this NIL. I wonder if it'll be something like that, where they'll look back, they'll just have to be like, this is a new era, and if you aren't a part of it, you're not a part of it. But yeah, that definitely does throw a wrench in things. And I wonder if I don't know how it will work though if someone does sue and then they let one player in, because then they're gonna have to let everybody in.
Well, and then two, I guess technically because this isn't age based with the 5-year thing, but if we're you didn't get your extra year, like you said, guys who've graduated now, that's where I'm worried, right? People who are still under 24, people who haven't been out of high school for 5 years, I'm worried about them. But what's even gonna, if we allow them in, what's gonna stop the people who are past that? To your point, kind of, James, being like, well, I should have got 5 years. Like, what's going to stop John Elway from showing back up to Stanford and saying, hey, I want my 5th year. I want to play another year of college football. Like, I mean, I think they just have to put their foot down, like James said, and just say, you know what, sorry, you weren't part of it. You know what, go kick rocks. Sorry.
And I think that's what the NCAA is trying to do, but we all know once these things head to court,
judges need to have a pair of you-know-what.
Yeah. I'm with you. And, I would say my counter-argument would be to, as much as I would like to see Joseph Webb, Sam Dank, and Marlon Gunn, those players continue to compete for ECU, when they came to college, they knew that they had 4 years of eligibility, and they chose to play those 4 years how they played them, or, the schools chose to play those 4 years how they ended up utilizing the player. So, it stinks, but it's just part of the rule change and something they are not able to take advantage of. All right. Johnny Stats did bring up a good point. His comment has disappeared, but he basically said you're going to see a lot of broken records now with 5 years of eligibility and the rev share because, you obviously have the chance to retain players more so. Obviously, if you're a really good player, maybe you can still go to the draft early if it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever. But the rev share combined with extra eligibility means we're probably going to see some all-time records go by the wayside, which I guess is cool, but also should they have an asterisk, James?
Yeah, there definitely will be some asterisks. It's the same thing with the NFL and the rushing, and I don't remember who it is specifically. I think it might be O.J. Simpson with the 2,000 yards rushing in the 12 games or whatever, and whoever else rushed for 2,000 yards, the asterisk, they played extra games. So I think it'll be something like that, like you said.
I think they just need to do pre-5 years eligibility and post-5 years eligibility. Of course, then it gets into the aspect of somebody who had a red shirt, for example. Let's just look at ECU. Holton technically only had 4 years, but because of the COVID thing, Holton got a 5th year, so he already kind of was a 5-year eligibility guy. So, yeah, I don't know.
Crazy stuff, but more seismic movement with Division I athletics, and I think just another domino that's going to fall that leads to more seismic changes in the coming years. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll hit this more from the specific sport standpoint. Football, we're so used to seeing certain positions and players redshirt. Now that the red shirts are basically gone, what is this going to mean for those positions? Basketball, obviously more European players are being recruited at an older age. That will probably be limited with this. And the baseball side of things with the draft, how does that impact things? We'll hit all that next. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today.
The hatches are battened down. Shiver. Our timbers are shivered, and the colors are hoisted.
Hoist the colors!
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in segment 2 here, Hoist the Colors. We're talking about the ramifications of the new 5-for-5 eligibility age-based ruling for Division I athletics. Obviously will impact East Carolina quite a bit and every other school in the industry. Let's hit this from a sports-specific standpoint. We've got James Gilio, we've got Philip Pilkington alongside today on this Wednesday program. We'll start with football, guys. Like, again, with this redshirting is kind of like, I mean, I guess it's basically just done. I guess you could maybe still designate somebody as a redshirt. I have to look more into that, but it really doesn't matter. You're going to have 5 years to play either way. Like with football specifically, I feel like redshirting is the sport you need it the most, at least developmentally. Like, how many offensive linemen come in ready to play at a high school? Very few. Defensive linemen the same way. Quarterbacks, rarely do you come in as freshmen and play. So, like, I thought the 4-game limit was a fair compromise. Hey, let's give a guy 4 games. He'll still redshirt, preserve eligibility. Now it doesn't matter, James. It's like you can throw him to the Wolves. I'm curious how this is going to change teams' approach. Maybe it doesn't change it at all, but I don't know. It's one of those things that more players can play technically, but will they is my biggest question.
Yeah, that's a good point you mentioned with the red shirt. Because I think football is definitely going to be the sport that is going to be affected the most out of like those 3 revenue sports we're talking about with basketball and baseball with the loss of red shirts. I was thinking out of it from more perspective that this is going to be, especially in football, a negative for high school recruits just because there are going to be fewer opportunities. Because I think college teams, even you see it today, are now going to be, instead of taking the 18-year-old high school quarterback to bring him and develop, why would they spend that money when they can go get the 23-year-old proven veteran quarterback in college football, and he has 2 years of eligibility left? So I think you'll see that side of things compared with the redshirt thing, along with the redshirt thing, that this is going to negatively affect high school students, I think, the most out of those 3 sports.
What do you think, Philip, on just how do you feel like it impacts football the most?
It's weird because I agree with what James said that it affects maybe the high school side of it and all of that the most. But then in a way, from just the way you go about yourself, it may actually impact football the least because those developmental years are still going to be used. The only thing that's going to change is now you don't get there as a coach and go, oh, crap, we're at 4 games. We can't play him anymore. Now the kid probably gets into 5, 6, 7 games somewhere in there. Whereas I feel like basketball, I know we're going to get into it with the international recruiting and baseball with the way the draft works, like that's going to affect more the roster construction once they get on campus, even more so than football. But it's going to affect the high school side of things, like to James' point, maybe less than football. So it's kind of weird. It depends on what angle we want to attack this at. And we probably have to do a whole show on each one of the sports to go fully in depth on all of them.
I am curious, does this create also less patience from the players? Because now there will be no, hey, you're going to redshirt. Now a coach could be like, hey, we need you to develop this year. But like if you're a receiver and you get that taste of game action just a little bit, and maybe that receiver doesn't stick around and wait even longer. Plus, just one of those things with the extra year of eligibility, like James said, I do think you'll see more guys in the portal who are older who want to take advantage of that last year of eligibility. It just, I don't know. Like, in some ways, I feel like this is almost going to lead to more transfers overall. Am I wrong in thinking that? I mean, we already have a lot as it is, but it just feels like anytime you give a guy, like, I just remember the COVID era, it just seemed like everybody was transferring for that fifth year. To James's point, I feel like we're going to see some of that over time here again.
Yeah, like you said, the example I gave was the 18-year-old high school quarterback. Another example I'd give, a group of 5 linebackers has 110 tackles as a senior. Under a 5-for-5, the SEC could offer more NIL than what you'd give at the group of 5 level or a school like ECU. And I think going more towards that, what Philip said on the high school side, I just think there's going to be less opportunities at the end of the day. I think there's going to be less opportunities for 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds that are coming in and they don't have that redshirt opportunity. And I think it's just going to benefit more guys at the 23, 24-year-old line.
It'll be interesting. I have to go through like ECU's roster and really break down guys going into their senior year now. Specifically, I have to learn their age because that's going to determine how much eligibility they have remaining, and more so than anything, we're gonna have to know these guys' ages, especially those that are already in school, to really know what the roster outlook is going forward. So it's going to create some interesting challenges.
Would you say among active guys, it's whatever's going to benefit them more?
Yes,
right.
Correct.
So, I mean, I would guess they're just going to get their 5 years, regardless of how old they are.
Yeah. Yep. So it's, but I think they go to just the 4. I think it's either the 5 to play 4, the old eligibility rule, or the age-based model. But they can't just get an automatic 5th year.
5th year,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna have to ask Malcolm to include everybody's birthday now on the bio, so I can get a yeah. This just creates more unknown there. All right, let's hit basketball. So I was reading this on CBS Sports, which is a partner of 24/7 Sports. The international loophole could close or at least be limited. This was written on CBS Sports. It said, quote, in May, it was reported that LSU men's basketball was set to offer 25-year-old guard Yam Madar several $1 million to join the roster. Madar was drafted by the Celtics in 2020 and has built a strong European career, including a Turkish League championship in 2024. Since Madar never attempted to enter the college basketball system, he could have had multiple years of eligibility. So this was going on. And if basically LSU couldn't recruit this guy under this current system, I don't know if he ended up enrolling or not. I think he was still trying to decide based on this ruling. But the 5-for-5 rule aims to cut off these kind of loopholes at the knees. So, look, ECU brought in Maxime Klitschko, who is 21 from overseas. So he still will be eligible. That's 2 years after his 19th birthday, but he could be looking at just having 3 years left to play as a result. So, that's probably your biggest thing you're looking at here in basketball is these international guys. Illinois, we saw them get a ton of these guys and make a deep run into the postseason, James. So I do like this rule. I mean, I think it's fair. Like, I think if you recruit an older player who's essentially a professional, they shouldn't be able to come back to college and play 4 or 5 years. So to me, this is fair and part of the reason this rule went into such effect so quickly.
Yeah, this is probably my second favorite part of the rule, besides the more clarity part with the players and their ages. I think not allowing these guys to come over from the European side of things is definitely going to be a better thing. It's definitely going to bring back that college sports feel. I guess it's nothing against them, but they just have more experience, and I think it's an unfair advantage that they have because those Euro leagues, though, they play at a higher level than these 18, 19-year-old kids coming out of high school do in college basketball. And same thing with guys coming from the G League. It's the same guys that have been drafted and played NBA minutes and are coming back to college. It's just not fair. And I think this has been the bigger driving point for why, or I think this has been the moment that has opened up a lot of eyes in the sense that, all right, like, we can't have guys coming from the NBA or guys that were drafted by the Celtics at pick 26 and coming back and they have 2 years eligibility left. That just can't happen because it's an unfair advantage. So I think this is something that I think college basketball is going to be affected the most by this out of any of those sports, just in general. But I do agree with this ruling because I think, like I said, it's just an unfair advantage that these guys get to play and get more experience in other leagues that some of these other players don't have.
Any more thoughts on hoops, Philip, before we talk baseball?
Oh yeah, I mean, too, the other thing, like the part of the experience is one thing. These guys are coming over and they're pros. I mean, that's the thing. Even though college has become pro sports, as in they're getting paid, like these guys have spent time where they're in a pro weight room. They have spent time where they weren't in school so they could beat on their craft constantly. And anybody who, has ever met a professional athlete and talked to them about the difference in playing high school or collegiately and playing professionally, the amount that you can put on in muscle and the skill set and the explosiveness you have because you don't have to sit in a classroom and do homework, you're at a huge advantage. And you're at a huge advantage, especially over an 18-year-old kid, especially in male sports where some of these kids don't even finish growing until they're 16 or 17 years old. So, I mean, look, it's kind of an unfair advantage. And also, I mean, I have no problem with the international guys coming over here. I think it's great. I think it grows the game. But again, come over here when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. We don't need these grown-ass men coming over here playing.
No doubt. All right, and final thing here, baseball. Obviously, we know a lot of people interested in college baseball around these parts. And the draft has always kind of wreaked havoc with just putting together rosters. And as of now, we can talk about some of the proposed MLB draft rule changes, which would make this even more chaotic. But as of now, you can obviously go to the draft if you're 21 by the time of the draft or after 3 years of college baseball. And what this does is essentially, if you get 5 years to play college baseball, it gives you 2 potential years of leverage instead of just the 1. Typically, when a player's done with his junior year, that's kind of the year to go to the draft, whereas now you'll have an extra year of eligibility to kind of negotiate with. So I would think this is going to lead to players getting bigger sign-in bonuses after the 3rd year of college or just coming back in general. So I think this could help keep more talent in the college game, at least for an additional year. You'll see a lot more 4th-year guys. The MLB still wants players in their system at the youngest age possible, so they may pony up and pay more for those 3rd-year players. But I think, James, this could end up helping the college game long-term in terms of impactful players staying in the college game.
Yeah, I think baseball, like you said, is gonna benefit the most from this ruling, and I think it's because there's no real guaranteed money after college or after college baseball, unlike the NFL and unlike the NBA and those sports. So I think it's definitely going to bring more roster stability, and more of these older guys are staying and wanting to develop, and then you get more roster stability and and that benefits the fans because then they know who's on the team year in and year out.
Philip, your thoughts on baseball?
Yeah, I think the big thing now is just how many guys are going to turn it down after their junior year because they know they still have a leverage year their senior year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, from the parents of these student athletes to say, hey, little Johnny, we really wish that you would turn down, that opportunity as a 12th or 13th round pick to go play one more year, get the degree. That way, if baseball doesn't work out, you've got that degree to fall back on because obviously you didn't go to a trade school because you were playing college baseball. So you want to have something. And, I think a guy like Dixon Williams, who's drafted, in the 4th round, probably still goes right after his junior year. But again, you see guys going after their junior year in the 10th, 11th, 12th round. And then also, with that being said, do the MLB scouts and GMs start to pick up on that, realizing guys aren't coming out after their junior year unless they're a really major prospect, and then they quit drafting as many of those guys. So that could just change the whole complexion of the draft as well.
And then you have, this is far from going official, but MLB, basically there's a huge MLB lockout looming because the MLB Players Association and Major League Baseball are going to have to come to some terms on some items. But MLB has proposed a pretty radical change of eliminating high school eligibility for drafts and implementing a 12-round draft instead of 20, but also allowing players to go pro after their sophomore years of college. I don't know if this is going to pass, but that would create even more chaos because then you wouldn't know. I mean, at that point, you would have, 3 years of leverage potentially if you're a college prospect? So, it would create even more unknown, I feel like, for both scouts, teams, and college coaches. So I don't know, man. I guess we'll see where this lands, but there's going to be some sort of change, it feels like, with the MLB draft and this lockout looming. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Nothing official yet. I tell you what, let's get a break in. Good discussion. If you guys got any more questions on the 5 for 5 rule, we'll try to hit that before we get out of here. We'll get a break in, though. We'll switch gears. James Gilio, he's our NBA expert, and he watched the draft last night. He's got his winners and losers, his big takeaways. We'll dive into that on the other side after the completion of the first round. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Enough of that.
Back to Hoist the Colors. Chicago on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, segment 3 here. We'll get to NBA draft in a minute. James Gilio with us, Philip Pilkington. James has his NBA draft winners and losers after the first round last night. I did want to just bring this up because Cameron hit it in the comments just for a second. He says, quote, "Y'all see where Louisville is in a $30 million deficit for athletics. The financial implosion of college sports world is coming, and when it happens, lots of athletics departments will be ruined. No one is safe." I looked into this. Yeah, I mean, this kind of came out last year where their AD was saying this is, just going to continue until something happens with athletics. But they're projecting $30 million deficit for the coming year, and the Louisville AD said, "quote, it's not being reckless. It is being rational. You have two choices. You can either continue to try to be in the game and play in the game, or you can say we're not going to." So I mean, we don't need to have another big picture discussion here, gentlemen, but. Like ECU, they have lost, I think, around $6 to $7 million on athletics the last handful of years. This year's projection is, I want to say, upwards of 10, but they did say at the Board of Trustees meeting, they kind of over budget just to make sure they have enough funding to cover it. But this is the ongoing problem. Philip, it's just going to continue this way until like changes are made to this system. Everybody's just spending more money to keep up. We're all just kind of like spending money just to be competitive. Like in Louisville's case, they're not even that great in many sports recently. I guess basketball with the Pat Kelsey hire, they took a step, but like it's not like they're winning big in football. So they're just spending an inordinate amount of money just to be 8-4 in football. I mean, it's crazy, man.
It just comes back to the fact that all these student athletes said, we're bringing in money to the university. We deserve to be compensated. You're not. You're bringing in money, but it's helping fund everything else. Now that you're being compensated, they're operating in the red. I understand they bring in the money, but that's being funded to fly girls soccer from Louisville to Stanford.
Yeah, it's a multi-layered problem. Just wanted to bring that up to address Cameron's comments. Good thoughts. James, I don't know if you got anything to add there. You want to jump into NBA here?
I was just going to say the same thing about, I think it's a similar situation. Rutgers is in a similar situation. They are not even close to competing in football or basketball. They're just pouring money out in the Big Ten. So,
yeah, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. And you got to remember, these schools are making, ECU's making, $7 million off its TV contract. These schools are making, definitely in Rutgers' case, $30, $40, $50 million. And they're still tens of $1 million in debt. So it's like, no matter how much money you make, it's still not enough. All right, NBA draft last night, and considered, at least with the first 4 players, probably the best draft in some time. AJ DeBonsa goes first overall to the Wizards from BYU. Darren Peterson goes from Kansas to the Utah Jazz. Cameron Boozer from Duke to the Memphis Grizzlies. Caleb Wilson from North Carolina ends up going 4th overall to the Bulls. So those were the big ones. Obviously, there were more storylines. We'll let James take it away here. James, feel free to go. Your winners, your losers, whatever direction you want to take it in, and then we'll discuss from there.
I picked 3 winners. I picked 3 losers. I didn't pick any of the top 4 teams as winners because I felt like they were pretty obvious. I mean, they're the clear 4 best prospects, and I think they're going to be, all 4 of them are going to be franchise cornerstones. Start with winners. I picked the Oklahoma City Thunder as one of my winners. They got Ade Mara from Michigan, 7-3. Big reason they lost in the Western Conference Finals is because Chet couldn't really match up with Wemby. They get Mara. He can also be a Hartenstein replacement when his contract gets a little too expensive. They can move off of him. And they also got Bennett Sturts, sharpshooter from Iowa. He can replace Isaiah Joe, their other sharpshooter who's due for a contract. So they picked up 2 big needs, and the Thunder just keep reloading. Another winner I had was the Hawks. They ended up with pick 9 because of the Pelicans trade with from last year, some lottery pick. Kingston Flemings is going to be a great point guard for them. He's going to be able to start within the next year or 2. And they also got Ejiofor from St. John's, big forward. He also fits the mold. He can replace, well, not even really replace, but the bust they took with the first pick a couple years ago. They kind of have a similar game style, I guess. Can't really shoot the ball well, but he's big, physical, and I like the pick for them. Veteran guy. He fits their timeline. And my third winner was Milwaukee. They just traded Giannis, I thought rightfully so. They got Braden Burries from Arizona. He's a good playmaker, scorer. He can do it really at all 3 levels. And then they also got Nate Ament later in the first round, and I think he's a freshman forward. Great build, great game. And I think if he develops right, develops a little bit more of a jump shot, he's going to be a really good piece for them. 3 losers, on the other hand, I had the Nets. They passed on Darius Acuff at pick 6. It's really hard to feel bad for the Brooklyn Nets. They just watched their crosstown rival win the championship. And I think if the Nets won the championship, I don't think anybody would care. And then they have Darius Acuff in their lap, and they pass on him for Michael Brown Jr. I disagreed with the pick. Mavericks just hired Dusty May. They take Morez Johnson from Michigan. I thought he was the weaker of the 3 projected Michigan players. I didn't like the pick. And then I also had the Raptors. They took the guy from Santa Clara forward. I didn't think he was a big need for them, and I think they should have taken LeBaron Philon from Alabama. I think he fit more of their play style. But those are my 3 winners and losers. Overall, it wasn't a crazy draft. There wasn't a crazy amount of reaches, crazy amount of people falling. So I think those are good picks.
It does feel like the Nets are just in obscurity for a while. I mean, to take you guys behind the curtain, I grew up a New Jersey Nets fan because of Jason Kidd. As you guys know, I pick my favorite teams based off my favorite players. Jason Kidd was one of my favorite players growing up, and they had Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson. I mean, that team was electric. Never won the championship. But ever since they moved to Brooklyn, they've just been just horrendous. So I'm not sad about it. Yeah. What do you think about the Boozer fit? I mean, I know he was projected to land with Memphis, Phillip, but your guy Boozer going to Memphis. Do you feel like he'll do well there?
Yeah, I mean he'll do solid. The tough thing about Boozer, man, is the true big is kind of dying, right? You got to be able to step out. You got to be able to shoot the three, which he can to an extent, but you got to be a good athlete. The tough thing is, there are sets ran in college basketball. Really, the NBA has become pickup ball. And it doesn't seem like there's much going on as much as it's just kind of chaos out there. And so I don't know how well his game is going to phenomenally translate to the league, but, especially only at, 6'9", 6'10". But look, man, the Memphis, they need to rebuild. They need to figure this out. I think they need to move on from Ja Morant. He's, what's his name? Boozer's not going to be your number one star on a team. You can't have a star big man anymore unless it's Wemby. He's a freak. He's a, exception to the rule. But, I mean, if you just look to have a solid big, a solid starter, a guy who I do think is going to play 10, 12 years in the league and just be decent, and then he's your guy. So he was probably the best player available.
We did have a question from Hunter James. He wants to know your thoughts on their 2 picks. Hannes Steinbach from Washington and then Christian Anderson from Texas Tech. Any thoughts there?
Hornets, yeah, I thought they were both good picks. I liked Anderson. I think they both fit the mold for the Hornets, younger guys. They fit the timeline. And I think Anderson especially is ready to win as he fits that. The Hornets are kind of in win now. I don't want to say win now mood, but they are projected to make the playoffs next year. I like both picks, though, for them, especially Anderson from Texas Tech.
Of these top 4 teams that picked stars, obviously it would seem like the Wizards are in position to contend next year, given the big trades they made and what they have coming back. Are you a Wizards believer now? And also, do you see any of these other teams being able to contend next year in their leagues?
Yeah, the Wizards, I think, are going to make the play-in at worst if everyone stays healthy. Anthony Davis is obviously a big question mark with health. I do think Trae Young's going to take a step up. He's had pretty much a year off from basketball, and I think he's going to be ready to play. The team, though, I like out of the top 4, and it might surprise you all, is Utah. I think Utah is going to make the playoffs next year in a pretty loaded Western Conference. I think they have the front court to do it. They have the size. I like their guards. Keyshawn George, their starting point guard, he's going to fit well with Darren Peterson, and then Ace Bailey is going to be pretty much their 6th man. I really like what Danny Ainge has built in Utah, and I think the Jazz, they might be the 6th or 7th best team, I think, in the West next year.
All right, why does the NBA make these players wear the hats of the team that drafted them and get traded away?
Thank you. I was going to say that. I forgot. It is a discussion year after year. There's no reason why they can't walk up there with the correct hat on. There's literally none. There's no reason why we need Malika Andrews on ESPN telling us, okay, this pick's going where? Why can't the graphic or why can't Adam Silver just give him the right hat?
Well, and 2, they're like, the other thing is like they don't announce the trades when it happens. Like there was a trade that happened prior to the Hornets pick, and Silver comes up and like announces the trade. Like we had not already seen it on the bottom of the screen. Like this was breaking news. And then, oh man, it's just so every other thing gets it right. What are we doing? The NBA is just, it writes its own script for being a joke.
Yeah, like
it does. It's like something that's so fixable.
The NFL has the silver platter on how to do it, and they just continue to do, like, even looking at the NBA draft rundown on ESPN, they have, like, obviously the Nuggets. As a Nuggets fan, I check it. Like, they had the Nuggets logo behind the 26th pick, which is when they were slated to pick Terrace Reed from UConn. It shows basically they drafted Terrace Reed, but they traded him to San Antonio. So, like, I first read it, I'm like, oh, the Nuggets got Terrace Reed. No, he's a Spur because they traded the pick. Like, it's got to be – like, why can't we just fix that, man? It's simple. Stupid.
It's because, like, these NBA trades don't actually happen at the time. They're not finalized for, like, 2 weeks, which I get it. But, like, let's just do what's right, and then if for some reason something falls apart, then let it fall apart. I don't know.
Yeah, like the Nuggets couldn't even hold a press conference because the pick wasn't official, even though it had been reported by every single outlet that they were trading Terrace Reed. We got to fix this, man. But the NBA is going to NBA. All right, let's get a break in. Our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show after this.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
The hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacomas $259 a month or Tundras only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final segment here. We got about 3 minutes left with James Giglio and Philip Pilkington on a Wednesday. We talked NBA draft. Last segment, James is a LeBron stan. LeBron about to enter his age 42 season, James. Is he going to do it with the Lakers or someone else?
Looks like the Lakers. Hopefully it's the Miami Heat, though, now. Giannis.
Yeah. So if he goes from the Lakers to the Heat, are you gonna become a Heat LeBron fan?
Yeah, I have to. It's in my contract.
I can't wait to see what you do after LeBron is done. See who you root for after that. So, are you gonna become a Wemby guy?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like I'm gonna have to put out like a bunch of hats and like with a recruit and like pick the hat of the team I'm gonna root for.
You know what's gonna happen? There's gonna be some team you're like really intrigued by their rebuild. You're going to jump on them. You're like, yo, I'm going to be here for this whole rebuild. And then they're just going to like totally drop the ball on it. It's going to be terrible. Yeah.
That would never happen to a team that James follows.
Par for the course.
Are you watching any of the World Cup, James?
Yeah, I've been watching the USA games and I've been watching the Messi games. I'm a Messi guy when it comes to soccer. I'm not a big soccer guy, so I don't really know a ton about the other countries, but whenever I will say the only soccer game I think I've ever watched like start to finish where I was like excited for the game was the finale 2022 or the final in 2022, and that was probably like a top 5 sporting event I've ever seen. So
yeah, I'm not a soccer guy either by nature, but I do love the World Cup. The next 3 days we got 6 games as group play comes to an end. Obviously USA will play tomorrow night in a pretty meaningless game in terms of the standings. They've already clinched the first spot of their group, but they'll play Turkey at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific time on Thursday night for that. What about your Yankees, James? I was wondering who you're talking to. Your Yankees, James. Aaron Judge still out, but hey, they had the best run differential in the AL, the third best in baseball, plus 111, leading their division. So, I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah, no, it could be worse. They're still holding steady. I'm like the inevitable June collapse didn't happen, and it's June 24th. So maybe things are different, and Aaron Judge will come back in July, and we'll go on to win the World Series and everything. And I'll have the same experience that the Knicks fans got to experience.
Yeah, it helps that this is like the worst American League I've ever seen, and they're maybe the one decent team in it at this point.
Terrible.
Yeah. The White Sox and the Rays are the best teams behind the Yankees.
Yeah. I wanted to ask y'all quickly about the College World Series, UNC collapse.
Oh, yeah. I know we're up against it with the time, but I'll let you weigh in. Did you revel in that a little bit?
Just thought it was a stinker. I had no other way to put it. Just laid an egg.
Laid an egg, and to Omaha for ECU is the College World Series championship to UNC. Well, we got to get out of here, James. Appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Thanks for the time. We'll circle back maybe next week, get you on the final time. Appreciate Philip Pilkington as well. We'll see you guys Thursday, 12 noon on Hoist the Colors.